History is very important because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala uses it. For Muslims, it is more important than possibly any other group in the world. Why? Because our scripture, what we call Allah's word, the Quran, it consists of history. In fact, I would say nearly 30% of the Quran is history. History in our eyes, because we believe what Allah is describing, what Allah is explaining, is history. Okay, because it is Allah who is sending it down. To secular historians, it is not necessarily history. These are legends, these are myths to some of them. They think Adam never existed, Abraham never existed. So there are people like that who think like that, and because they are secular in their outlook, they are naturalists. They don't see any physical evidence of uh, Abraham's existence, or for that matter, for Adam's existence. They think they never existed because there's no physical empirical evidence. But we believe in the metaphysical world. We believe in the supernatural. We believe Allah is the one who revealed the Quran. We believe Allah exists and He is the one who spoke with us through His prophets and He sent down revelations. Therefore, whatever He tells us is true. It is by default the truth. So that's why the Quran tells us the stories of previous prophets and some of their struggles with their respective authorities at the time. For example, Abraham dealing with his king, Joseph dealing with his king, Moses confronting the Pharaoh or the Pharaohic establishment. So all of these things are there in the Quran. So it is absolutely crucial for us to know our history. Allah is teaching us the importance of history in the Quran by telling us these stories. Okay. On top of that, history is very important for us to know, for us to uh, better understand the present and to be able to predict the future or to possibly make our future better, having learned from the past. So, if you know the past well, you will take lessons from your past, you will learn from it, and by doing so, you will be living your present to the best of your abilities, and at the same time, you will be making things better for the future, inshallah, having learned lessons from your past. That's another reason to know history. Also, furthermore, history is important because your enemies are using it against you. Your enemies, Islamophobes, Islam hating entities around the world, in some cases, governments are using your history against you. They are distorting your history, they are spinning it, they're putting the wrong spin on it, and they are throwing it back at you, right? And because we are not trained in history, we don't know our history, we're not able to defend our civilization, right? So, in order to be proud of your history, uh, in order to be, how can I put it? You know, in in order to be very very aware of your history, you have to study it, and doing so will give you the ability to defend your civilization. Where there are virtues, where there are achievements, where there are luminaries to defend, you will defend them effectively because you know the history. But if you don't know your history, your enemies will throw partial history at you, or distorted form of your history at you, or lies, outright lies at you, and you won't be able to defend because you are simply not aware whether this is even your history or not. So it's happening in India today, it's happening in the West. Islamophobia is a reality. We don't even hide it anymore. There are people on news channels, politicians, pseudo intellectuals, pseudo historians are using your history uh, without having to face much trouble or much uh, challenge from Muslims. So I believe Muslims need to study the history more and more. We have been very negligent, in particular, towards our history. We have neglected it criminally. I believe we are criminally negligent towards our history. So it's very important for us to appreciate our history, learn not all of it. I mean, it's impossible for one person to know all your history, but you can also always focus on a particular point of your history. You can master it, and then you can always represent it. If you look at other people, our counterparts like the Christians and the Jews, if you look at Western academies, universities, who are the people teaching the Jewish history? Um, Jewish scholars. They are teaching Jewish history. Who are the people teaching let's say, European history, mostly Christians and seculars, secular scholars. Some of them are not even Christian. Um, who is teaching the Islamic history? Who is teaching the Islamic history is the question. It is the Jewish scholars, Christian scholars, atheistic scholars, or in some cases outright, people who have no beliefs or anything like that. I mean, even atheism is a belief, in my opinion. Okay, it's a belief system. We can go into that if you want. But people who have no beliefs at all, they have nothing to defend. Even they are teaching the Muslim history. So the only people missing from the scene are, unfortunately, Muslim professors, Muslim scholars, uh, who are who are absent from schools of history or history departments in major universities in the West, in particular. Okay, you may find one or two historians in the Muslim world teaching in the local languages, like the Arabic language, let's say in the Arab world, Urdu language in Pakistan, and the Hindi language in India. I mean, most historians in India write in the English language, but there are people who are teaching in the local languages. But when it comes to the English language in the Western world, very few Muslims are involved in the history of study, unfortunately.